Well, it's pretty cold outside. Time to manufacture a little indoor fun. Hi everybody, it's Mark Myers, the Family Woodworker. Hey, this week we're going to have quite a bit of fun repairing and also making some new features for an indoor Putt Putt course. This is something that I helped put together last year for the company I work for and sponsor a little indoor event during the midst of a cold winter season. Everybody had a great time, but a lot of the pieces that we made were made out of cardboard, like this cowbell hole over here to the side. So we had kind of a ramp, and we had a couple other holes just made out of cardboard, and they need some attention or possibly replacement. We even did a clown mouth out of some pretty thin material, but also made out of wood. And that's what we're going to do this week, is make a couple of more holes out of wood, and hopefully they'll last a little bit longer and we can use them year over year. So stick around, we'll have some fun putting these together. So here was the idea for the indoor course that we first drafted last year for a little indoor company event in the middle of the wintertime. Man, when it's cold outside, it's fun to do something else. But we're going to add or modify a couple of these holes to beef them up a little bit, and hopefully they'll last longer. It also helps to find these soft rubber cups that you can use for indoor putting, and they're just available online. Now, for the second hole, we're going to create a new challenge called the Mystery Box, and it really helps to have scrap plywood hanging around the basement because it really allows me to build these little features without having to buy anything. So the trick about this Mystery Box is that the ball is going to go up an incline ramp, and you can hit it anywhere into the box and it will go up the ramp, but there'll be a little bit of a surprise waiting for you when the ball comes out the back side. And you'll see that as we put you can see the pencil lines there, that the ramp will be going up and it will be going down. And just to make sure you're awake, sorry about that, that was fun. And so here's the ramp heading up. And then the second ramp coming out. And we're going to add the trick to this right here. We'll put a little incline and channel the ball off to the far corner. So you might think it's going to come out in the middle, but it's not going to. And I had a few other scraps of the really thin plywood to put up on top here. And that's it for this box. Hole number 3 is going to be a windmill. So this is the one piece of thin plywood. I went out and bought just a 1/2-inch piece of ply. And I'm using basic hand tools to do all of this. You didn't have to use the air nailer. You could have just used brads. So I cut out the basic windmill shape, and then these two longer pieces will be the windmill vanes. Find the center hole for these guys, something that'll take a small 1/4-20 bolt, and then they can attach right to the front of that windmill. It'd be great to put a motor on it, and have it move, but maybe that's step 2 next year. Now, because it's just a thin piece of plywood, I've got to stand it up, and so I thought the best way to do that would be to create a couple of feet for it that just sit on the ground with that slot, and that plywood will fit right in there. Hole number 4, we don't really have to do anything to hole number 4. I created this last year, and it held up really well. It's just a straight path across the feature, and hopefully you avoid the pegs. If you hit the pegs, you're in trouble. And that was really it. Hole number 5 is a straight up ramp with a couple of obstacles on the top there. And once again, having plywood in the basement is a big help. And scraps will just make a nice little incline here. And are you still awake? Yes, sorry about that. And so we'll put a couple of guides on both sides of this ramp. And then I'm going to glue a couple of blocks just to get in the way at the top. And that's it for this feature. The next is the cowbell. Now this is one of the ones that was made out of cardboard, and it was really in rough shape after we featured this at 2 different office locations. But again, it seems to make sense to toughen it up a little bit. And again, I had some of this scrap plywood left over from a pair of end tables I made for my daughter, so why not use it? So essentially I'm going to make exactly the same design that you see in cardboard there out of wood. And I want to keep it in two pieces, so the thing that I have to keep in mind for all of these pieces and parts is that I've got to find a way to put them all into like a large bag, a large duffel bag, to be able to carry them around. And it's pretty bulky if you look at the cross section of that cardboard piece. So I'm going to assemble the whole top, and I'm going to put little dowel pins right here. But I'll glue them in here, but I won't glue them into the base, so that I can actually take the base off, and then this whole thing will lay kind of flat. And there's the cowbell. I've got to have more cowbell. Hole number 7 is the clown mouth. Now this is a piece that I did last year out of just thin melamine, and I had the ramp just taped up there, which worked. It was functional, but I wanted to find something that was a little tougher, a little more permanent. So I'm just screwing in I cut a taper into the scrap piece of 2x4. And then I'm going to put some pegs or some dowels. In fact, you can still see some of that Gorilla tape that was used as a hinge. And I'm going to glue in the dowels into this particular piece. And then what I'll wind up doing is drilling a little bit of a wider hole on an angle up here in the 2x4. And then the ramp should basically just rest right in the holes and stay pretty solid in holding those two pieces together. It actually worked out really well. Hole number 8 isn't a wood feature at all, but we got some laughs from this last year. We called it the Super 8 hole. And I just put one of those soft rubber cups behind the leading can. There's no way to get a hole in one on that hole. Hole number 9 is a spiral, and I cut this out last year. And in order to successfully complete the hole, you just had to get it to the inner part of that spiral. But I wanted to add a piece of plywood to the bottom here, and then actually carve out a little hole. So in order to complete the hole, it would have to go down into the recess of this little piece of plywood. So my magnifying glass was about the right size, and I just cut out the circle here. And this provides the base. Now, the thing is, even with this 1/4 inch plywood, the ball doesn't get over that lip. So like the ramp and like the peg challenge, I've got to get the belt sander out and grind that edge down. So that's really what I did. I just took it down so that it was really thin on the bottom there, and the ball can actually get up then into the feature. And just to clean up a little bit of my rough and rugged jigsaw cutting, we'll get it on the sander. And then the final step for just the pieces that needed to be touched up was paint. And so the windmill is going to have yellow veins. We'll do yellow on the spiral and a little red accent on top. But essentially all the construction is done now. I played around with this on the carpet. It's going to be fun when we get this set up for the company. So here are the 9 holes, and it was a lot of fun putting this together. This was basically just a short weekend, part-time, putting the pieces together, coming up with new ideas. And again, this is stuff that you can do too for your family, for your kids. It was a lot of fun to put together, and I appreciated you joining me. Thanks for watching.